Jesus came to Jerusalem, the big capital city of Israel, for the last week of his life. This week included the biggest religious festivals in the ancient world. There were thousands of visitors in the city. The Romans, who ruled Israel, were always worried that trouble would break out. Jesus started on the Mount of Olives, which overlooks the temple area. He stopped and cried.
Everyone could see him coming down the Mount of Olives into the valley, then up the steep hill of the Lion's Gate, which led straight into the temple courts. About 200 years earlier, a man called Simon led a rebellion against the Romans. He won a battle against the Roman army.
He rode his horse down to the Mount of Olives and through the Lion's Gate. The crowds cheered and waved palm branches and threw their coats into the air.
There was a great celebration, but soon more Roman soldiers had arrived and Simon's army was defeated.
All those years later, as people saw Jesus, they waved palm branches and threw their coats in the air and shouted, Hosanna.
Which means God save us, but it's also a way of saying praise God.
Maybe they thought he was coming to defeat the Romans, but they missed one important thing.
Jesus was riding a donkey, not a horse, meaning that he was coming in peace.
They did not understand that he had come to die for all of them, not start another war. Jesus always taught peace and not violence.
The closest he came to being violent towards people came next. In the temple courts, there were people making money out of the poor people coming to worship God.
Jesus was very angry. He threw over the tables being used by the money changers and shouted at them until they ran away.
God says that his house will be called a house of prayers, but you are making it into a den of robbers.
Jesus loved people, but he hated injustice. He did not hurt any of the people, but he made a big mess in front of the temple.
The people in charge of the temple were already worried about the crowds following Jesus and decided at this point that Jesus had to die.
These people are very powerful.
They knew how to get people to do what they wanted. 5 days later,
The people who shouted Hosanna instead shouted crucified him.
They released a violent criminal instead of Jesus, but Jesus remained peaceful to the end. He died saying, Father, forgive them.